Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today is the 30th January. Day is Thursday. And the first editorial that we are going to discuss today, it's called Planned Injustice. It's about this triangle. You have USA on one side and then you have Israel and Palestine on the other two corners. Now, planned injustice is about USA's or Mr. Trump's stand on this peace plan, or Mr. Trump's peace plan that has been rejected by Palestinians. And the reason why it is rejected is because it is quite biased, it's partial, and it is heavily tilted towards Israel. Now, we are talking about this area here, as you can see on your screen. So this golden portion here is Israel. On one side you have this Mediterranean Sea. Then you can of course see here that Israel is sharing a tiny boundary with another water body. So I have a question for you guys. Can you give me the name of this water body? Right, the one that you can see here. So I need the name. So this is your question number one. Then this issue between Israel and Palestine is also about Jerusalem. Now remember when we were talking about Bolsonaro, when we were talking about Brazil a few days ago, I told you that USA was the first country back in 2017. Trump administration recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and this was a big thing. So far, USA has tried to act as a neutral negotiator between these two parties here, but 2017's declaration was a big shock for Palestine as well as for this whole peace process. Then Australia supported the stand. Australia also said that Jerusalem is official capital of Israel, and so did Brazil. Now this is a bit of problem because Jerusalem is a religious city and it is important for all three religions: Jews, Muslims and Christians. For them, this city of Jerusalem is, for all three of them, city of Jerusalem is very important. Now this whole issue between Israel and Palestine, one of the main core problem is Jerusalem. When I say problem, I mean to say that West Bank, or this Palestine, right? This is Palestine here, by the way. Let me show you Palestine here before I jump on to this Jerusalem. So this is Palestine, and one portion is here. It is called Gaza Strip, and this portion is called West Bank. Right? I hope things are clear. You can see Golan Heights are here. It was part of Syria, but after 1967's Six-Day War, this territory is under the control of Israel. So Israel is not having a good friendly neighborhood, right? Egypt on one side, then you have Jordan here, Syria, Lebanon, all this, and then you have of course these two places. And mostly over here in this Gaza Strip we find bullets. When I say bullets, I'm talking about violence and other things taking place over here between people of Gaza Strip and Israeli soldiers. Now I was talking about Jerusalem, right? So one of the core demand of Palestine is that Jerusalem, that the people of Palestine, they have access to Jerusalem. And Israel is also, declaring, or Israel's stand is that Jerusalem belongs only to Israel. Palestine wants the full Jerusalem. And because of this thing, the problems are going on. This is just one side of one thing. There are other issues as well, like this refugees, issue of refugee. Then you have this Israeli settlements in West Bank area. So if Palestine accepts this peace plan of Mr. Trump, then Palestine will lose roughly 30% of its territory. Their claim on Jerusalem will vanish, and the right to return of refugees will also go away. So this peace plan is definitely not going to work because it's one-sided, right? And I'm not taking side of Palestine here. I'm not taking side of Israel here. I'm stating as things are. Now, what is India's official stand? This is very important for us, right? If you're preparing for competitive exams, then you should know that what is two-state solution. It's very simple. Two-state solution basically means that in this portion here, there are two countries, or both nations should exist with each other. One country, Israel. Israel should recognize Palestine as a country, and Palestine should recognize Israel as a country, and both can have a peaceful existence. And that's what two-state solution is all about. And this is not just India, it is also supported by United Nations. There was a time when USA was also supporting it, but after Mr. Trump, things have changed quite drastically. Now, Palestinians' negotiation powers are at their weakest point. Earlier on, it used to have support from Jordan, Syria, Egypt, then Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, then this Dubai and all this country, UAE, and you have this Oman and other countries, particularly Sunni countries, were supporting Palestine. But at present, this support has weakened, right? It's eroding, like Saudi Arabia as well. It's not taking a strong stand. Earlier on, it used to take very strong stand. It was, very high pitch about Palestine. But things are not that strong as far as Palestine is concerned. And the bottom line is, if we want to see a final solution for this problem, then we need a proper negotiation, right? Both nations should come on table, and table is the only place where they can sort out differences and things between them. And for that, we need proper referees as well. Referees who are biased, or negotiators who are biased. The middle countries I'm talking about, middlemen, right? If they are biased, then this is not going to help. Moving on to next item, but before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses. As you can see on your screen, we have covered so many exams, competitive exams, and let me tell you, with the help of our pen drive and tablet courses, there are thousands of students out there. They have cracked various different competitive exams. You can purchase your pen drive and tablet course from our website, that is StudyIQ.com. And if you have any further queries, then you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Dear friends, if you want to download the PDF of today's lecture, these are the two sources. And let me add one more thing here. As you know, on regular basis, I do request all of you guys to share this lecture with as many students as possible. And I do know for a fact that there are few students out there, they are sharing it on regular basis, and I really, really appreciate your support. But there are majority of students, a big chunk, right? You guys, you watch this video on regular basis, and I believe if you are watching it on regular basis, then you are benefiting from it as well. Now remember, for any series, right, if you want to see this series to continue for a very long period of time, then you have to support me, right? This is not just my series, this is our series, remember. So I'm trying my level best to share and to reach out to as many students as possible. But if you genuinely believe that this series is helpful to you and it will help other students, then do share this lecture with other students. This is a request to all my dear viewers and aspirants. I have a proper question for you. A few days ago, we were talking about China, Myanmar economic corridor, remember? It's also known as CMEC. So can you give me three pillars? What are the three pillars of this CMEC? Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, second topic is about mindset problem. It's about MGNREGA. Now, MGNREGA is not something new for you guys. It's Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. You know the situation of our farmers, particularly landless farmers. We have so many of them, millions of them in our country. They don't have even a small piece of land for themselves. So they are basically working as laborers in someone else's farm. Now, as far as agriculture is concerned, it's not a 24/7 or 365 days thing. You have big breaks in between. On an average, 3 to 4 months per year. You have nothing to do. So, of course, to survive, you have to work somewhere. But if you don't find any work in someone else's farm, then you will try to migrate for time being to city area. But jobs, if economy is not doing well, if agrarian crises are going on, if economy is stressed, then you won't find simple labor work in semi-urban or town or urban area. So MGNREGA is just like it's not an insurance scheme, but it works like an insurance for landless laborers. Now, 15 states have already overshot budgets for the scheme's implementation, and many have not been able to pay wage dues. Should be a cause for concern. Central government is also running out of funds, and this is a matter of concern. Now, most of the people who are registered under this MGNREGA, they fall between this bracket of 18 to 30 years age group, most of them predominantly speaking. And MGNREGA has improved agricultural productivity, no doubt, but the limitation of MGNREGA is that it is just surrounded, or it is just focusing on unskilled manual labor. It's okay, right? It is also important to create some sort of social asset or infrastructure at a rural area level. Yes, we need this sort of infrastructure as well at rural level. But there are so many students, there are so many people out there, semi-skilled and skilled people. They are not finding what they are seeking for. I mean to say proper employment. So MGNREGA should expand itself. It should cover skilled work or semi-skilled work as well. And this will create more, you can say, it will create those sort of infrastructure that can have a lasting impact at grassroots level, like roads, wells, check dams and other things. This will create more wages as well. But for that, central government should provide enough fund, and states as well should contribute in expanding the horizon of MGNREGA. So this article is all about changing the mindset. We should not fix our mindset by keeping MGNREGA just limited with unskilled work. We should also expand its horizon. Moving on to next item, it's about a roadmap for robust trade ties, and this one is about Australia and India. Now, India is a powerful country when we look at it from soft power point of view. When we look at it from hard power point of view, we are getting there slowly. But India has always specialized in soft power. Now, what exactly do you mean, or what do we understand from this word called soft? See, if you go to Africa, there are so many countries out there in Africa. They love India. They love India because India has never encroached over. India has never colonized this country. In fact, India has always supported these countries in terms of health and medicine and other things. There are so many teachers, doctors. They are living in one of the most remote area of Africa. If they travel to some other country, or if they would have stayed in India, they would have made millions. But they are living in Africa, giving away all this, living all this luxury behind. They are living in Africa because they genuinely believe that the world can be made a better place, and that's what they are doing. So there are so many Indians out there. Even if you see United Nations peacekeeping force, I think third largest contributors as far as foot soldiers are concerned, right? As far as boots are, when I say boots, I'm talking about soldiers, right? We are third largest contributor, but we are not part of United Nations Security Council. But then as well, India, you find India, and not just in Africa, there are other parts as well. I'm just giving you one example. So, love and respect for India has always been there, not just with African countries, but other countries as well. They see India as a leader, as a country that has always been there for them. And soft power is something that, you find India's soft power in Australia as well, right? When we talk about Australia and India, cricket is a common bridge. I'm sure many of you will be following cricket. I personally, I don't follow cricket, but my father is a big fan. He was a cricketer, so loves cricket. But anyway, Australian cricketers are famous, are a household name in India, and Indian cricketers are a household name in Australia. So we have this great people-to-people contact. Our students, in thousands are studying over there in universities. Our people are living there. So we have this robust ties when it comes to people-to-people contact. But unfortunately, we have not succeeded. When I say we, I'm talking about both Australia and India. We have not succeeded in transforming this people-to-people contact into a trade relationship. Now let's quickly go through Australia, some geographical things. I'm not going into too much details here because a few weeks ago when we were talking about this bushfire, we have gone through Australia in detail. So regularity is something, continuity is something that that is a thing that will help you. If you're following this series on regular basis, then we have talked about this thing. If you are just watching it few days and then you think that you will come back and watch it, then that will not give you that excellence. So make sure if you are following it, then follow it regularly. So you have Tropic of Cancer here. Indian Ocean is a common water body that is connecting both these countries, India and Australia, right? Both countries are part of this quad as well. Then you have famous cities like Canberra is the capital. Then you have Sydney, Brisbane, Darwin is there. Then you have Adelaide, Perth. These are famous cities, big cities of Australia. Continents, you can see Western Australia, Northern Territory, South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, etc. And it's also famous for this thing, last one, and that is this Great Barrier Reef. Now, bilateral trade, we were talking about that people-to-people contact is great, but bilateral trade is not that good. It is, in fact, a modest $31 billion. That's it. And generally, or most of the things that we import-export is coal and other minerals. So it's not our clothes or goods or other things or merchandise products, right? That's that things, like these products, right? They should have the biggest or lion's share rather than this coal and minerals. The person that you can see on your screen, his name is Peter Verkish, and he was Australian High Commissioner to India. He's a diplomat, and he wrote this report. He released this India Economic Strategy 2035 report. And as per this report, no single market over the next 20 years will offer more growth opportunities for Australia than India. So this is something that Australia knows it very well, and there are high chances that we can develop this wonderful, robust relationship. About 80% of the Australian small and medium-sized enterprises are managed by young professionals and young Australians, like young Indians. We have common things like 21st century globalization. They support this multiculturalism, quality education. Australia is known as a laboratory of ideas, innovation, technology-led growth, and university-industry partnership. And India is a large and demographically young market with a love for innovation and an appetite for new products and services. The weakest thing about India's export is that markets are country specific and culturally sensitive. We are creating those sort of products that are not culturally sensitive, and this is one of the main reasons why we are not able to expand our foot in Australian market. The second thing is Australia is a brand conscious market. If our products are not visible on this quality shelf, it very well when it comes to cars, when it comes to cloth items, mobile phones, etc. Our products are limited or not that good quality ones if you compare it with international brands. So if we don't create this sort of products, international global products, then Australian people, they will not buy things from us because they are very brand conscious people. They like quality products. And innovation is something that is one of the most important factor if you want to sustain success in every sphere. And you find it in every sphere. In fact, in cricket as well. After 2020, 2020 is an innovation as far as cricket is concerned. And it is doing very well. So innovation is something that we need in our services and products. And then only we would be able to sell more things to Australia. So there are plenty of opportunities that both nations can exploit. Moving on to next item, time to prioritize education and health. It's about economy. Now, we know very well what's going on in our country. We are going through this slowdown phase, and to get rid of this slowdown, we have done many things, like we have increased ease of doing business here. Our government has provided concessions to corporate sector of 1.40 lakh crore rupees. I'm talking about corporate tax rate slash. Limitations on foreign investment are being relaxed or removed so that we can get more FDI, more investment, and these are good steps, no doubt. But despite all these measures, there is little evidence of any significant increase in investment by private sector. Economists. There are many who say that we need to work on labor reforms, land reforms, and they are right as well. I'm not saying they are totally not right, right? And there are economists who are saying that acceleration of investment in infrastructure is must. This will create more jobs and other things, and they are also right, no doubt. Abhijit Banerjee, Nobel laureate, has said that transferring income to the poor who are likely to spend the additional income to buy goods and services, like if you transfer income, if you give money in the hands of people, right, then they will purchase things and services, and this will boost, this will provide a sort of a motion, or the wheel will come into motion. I'm talking about the wheel of economy. But all these economists, Abhijit Banerjee included, they have missed one important point, and that is social sector. Investment in social sector is something that big names have missed. No mainstream economists or policymaker has come out with a suggestion for enhancing expenditures in these sectors. Look at the countries like Japan, South Korea, right? These countries, earlier on, few days ago, we were talking about this Germany, remember? That after World War II, Germany was in a very bad shape as far as economy is concerned, or overall. But it invested, and at present Germany is one of the most advanced countries in the world, and in European Union or Europe, Germany is the biggest as well as the strongest country. So how it has achieved this thing, it is because of its human capital or human resources. And what we need now is we need to invest in our human beings, right? And if we do this thing, there are people out there, economists out there, mainstream economists and policymakers. They think that if we invest in schools, in education, in health, then it will create results, but it will take ages. We need to sort out. We need something that is more now. Short-term improvements is something that is India, that is something that is desperately required at present. But their thinking is wrong. Of course, we need something for now, but if they are thinking that if you invest in education and health and it will produce positive results only after a few years, then their belief is deeply flawed. Because if we go through Right to Education RTE Act and National Education Policy 2020, then we find that when this RTE was implemented, in 5 years, there were like 5.7 million teachers, jobs were created, or they got recruited. We are talking about 57 lakh teachers. And in next 5 years, approximately another 57 lakh teachers. So we are talking about here 1 crore 14 lakh teachers. Just teachers, educators, they have got job because of this right to education. Now, there are only 12.5% schools out there. They are following the norms of RTE. They are RTE compliant. So we have a very big chunk of schools, they are still not following norms as far as infrastructure of the schools are concerned, or norms are concerned of RTE. So there is ample amount of opportunity for constructing or improvement in infrastructure, and this will create lots and lots of jobs, right? When it comes to health field, we have so many vacancies of professionals, paramedical workers, middle level health workers, nurses, trained doctors, etc. If you visit government hospital, then you will find that we desperately need infrastructure. We desperately need trained people or medical field personnel. So health and education are two areas. If we focus on these two things, then we can create so many jobs. And it can also provide a boost to economy. It will improve people's health, and long term as well. In short term, in medium term, in long term, it will create just benefits for our country. So all those economists who have missed this thing, they should pay attention to this article. And for your answer as well, mains examination, steps taken by government, advantages, disadvantages, or merits, or what are the things that government should do. Then of course you can talk about the steps that government has taken, like corporate tax, ease of doing business and other things, but you should not miss this social sector. Investment in social sector is important. If we don't prioritize it, then we may find ourselves in the same situation. And when your people are educated, right, like look at Switzerland. Switzerland is a tiny country, isn't it? But it's not chasing after mass production. It's focused on high quality products. High quality is something that will always be in demand. So they have got this thing, and we need to understand this thing as well. Now, compromising scientific curiosity for marketability. I have a question for you. 107th Science Congress was held in which city? That's your question. Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, Prime Minister, whilst addressing this 107th Science Congress, he said that young researchers should innovate, patent, produce and prosper. We have this Dehradun Declaration of 2015, which said that market patents, that institutions should sell these patents, and with the money that they earn should be used for self-finance research. So basically, Dehradun Declaration is talking about, or it's directing our institutions towards self-finance or standing on their own feet, right? That's what this Dehradun Declaration is all about. In 1990s, CSIR Director General R.A. Mashlekar has also said that this labs, they should become self-finance and they should stand on their own feet. But this is, of course, not right, or this is something that we should not do. There is a genuine concern among researchers and academics, and the reason is that when you will stop, means if you think that self-finance is the best way, then we are missing a very important point, and that is that all the research and the products that we will find will be market driven. So all those things that can create monetary value will be appreciated. All those things that are important for development of our society and other things, that will be neglected, and that is also not healthy for overall development of our society. There has always been this debate of basic versus applied sciences, and John D. Bernal in 1940s said that the nation and the material needs of the citizen should get top priority in science. But this was opposed by geologist John R. Baker, who said that scientific life should be autonomous. The people who are working, scientists and researchers, they should be given free hand. They should be allowed to choose their own topic. They should have this freedom to choose their own problems. In 1945, Vannevar Bush wrote to then President of USA in this publication, Science, the Endless Frontier. In this one as well, he has said that researchers should be given free hand. They should be allowed to choose their own topic, right? And this market should not decide what is good and what is bad. Researchers' own curiosity, their freedom should decide the things that they want to pursue. And one of the main reasons why we are backbenchers when it comes to these brands, I was talking about Australia, that what they need, why we are not able to create this sort of global brands is not because we don't have marketing people, we don't have production capacity. It's only because we are not investing in R&D. R&D is unfortunately seen as expense in our country, and this is a very bad culture. China is spending 17% on an average. It has spent about, on an average, it has gone up and up 17% in R&D, and we are spending what, 0.9% of GDP, and then we are expecting to compete with China and other countries. It's not going to help. Without R&D, you see where USA is at present. It is all because of research and development. And in our country, Indian Institute of Technology, they have to reach out to their alumni, their pass outs for funds, and this is a very sad situation. So self-finance and standing on their own feet and all these things, one size fits all solution is not good as far as the scientific world is concerned. And the last one is about Gandhiji. Now I'm sure you know many things about Gandhiji. You might have read so many things about Gandhiji, so I'm going to be very brief here. Now if we go through 2019, then we find that 2019 will be remembered as Gandhian Year because protests in different parts of Hong Kong, Algeria, then Chile, Lebanon, or Chile or Lebanon. Then you have this Catalonia, that is part of this Spain at present, Iran, and so many other countries. Protests were going on for various different reasons. Then we saw this combat climate change protest, Greta Thunberg, and environment is something that Gandhiji has always promoted. Gandhiji talked about this: earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed. Gandhi was a non-conformist person. That means he was not a person who will accept things as they are. He will always question things, and that does not mean that he was against everything, but he was trying to achieve excellence in every sphere of life. And this desire to excel or excellence was also considered as a moral virtue in ancient Greek, just like by Socrates, for example. Socrates, he has opposed unjust laws, and that's what we find in today's youngsters, right? In different parts of the world, they have opposed unjust laws in their country. And so many big names: Martin Luther King Jr., Dalai Lama, people in Tahrir Square, Otpor in Serbia, and other places. You find highlights of Gandhi in 20th century, in 21st century, and in future as well. So Gandhi and his ideas are contemporary, they are not old, and they will always be fresh whenever we find unjust laws, or when it comes to environment and other things. And these are news items for you guys, dear friends. Please download the PDF and go through all these news items in detail. Once you go through these items, write headlines, then find these headlines in your newspaper and go through them. And I will see you all later on today with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.